I just wanted to say before we get started, there will be spoilers. I suggest you read Goodbye Eri, which is a one-shot containing 200 pages. This is so that you can understand what's going on and what I'll be discussing about. I will be summarizing it in the introduction, but it is not going to go into detail about the manga, just the whole idea of what it's about. If you do not plan to read the manga, I hope that this is still understandable, as I will be mostly giving my own personal opinion on Goodbye Eri. Now, there's no simple way of explaining the story, but we can get the basic idea of what it's about by knowing that a boy named Yuta was celebrating his 12th birthday, where he had gotten a smartphone. His mother wanted him to record her all the way up to her death, but in the very last moments, he ended up not showing up and instead ran away from the hospital. We then see that the building explodes, and this is where the difference between reality and fantasy begin. But as it shows, this was just added in because this was Yuta's submission for a talent show that was being held at his school, which was his own movie, quote unquote. This story received a lot of hate, laughter, and overall a very negative response because people didn't like it. Someone had even stated that it was disrespectful to his mom. This took a huge toll on Yuta, as he would state in his video he recorded to take his own life. He felt that throughout his lifetime he created that movie not only for his mom but for himself by devoting all his time to it. And to hear what not just a few people but basically everyone who watched it say it was bad broke him. It was a project with passion and everyone hated it. This is where he would go to the hospital where his mother had died in, that was abandoned some time ago. This is when he would run into somebody at the top of the stairs on the building named Eri. She ends up dragging him along into the building where they'd watch a movie together. And this was the beginning of their friendship, where she would inspire Yuta to create a new movie and to more or less appreciate more of his own life. So Eri, Yuta, and his father decided to try and create a new movie. Now, like I said, that is just the gist of the story. There are so much more things in the story that changes a lot and the meaning. Also, the ending is entirely up for interpretation. There's really no say of what's right. That is the main thing about this one-shot. There's really no final ending. The reader decides what was actually a part of the movie and what was real life. We question the parts that Yuta decided to add as he changes it to his own fantasy. Tatsuki Fujimoto can also be known for stories like Fire Punch, Chainsaw Man, and Look Back. He's created other stories here and there, but I suppose you consider these the big three since people most likely know him for these series. Chainsaw Man got an anime adaptation so far with one season that contains 12 episodes, while Look Back also got a movie adaptation. What is Tatsuki Fujimoto doing to not only produce stories that have been reviewed positively, but have honestly substantially gotten a lot of attention to keep on creating things that touch the heart of the people? For those that have stayed and stuck with his works, he not only has been getting better with every single release, he has been changing them every single time. They are always different, but with his little spin that he always adds on, as he continues to grow with every story that he decides to make. His way of telling a story is approached differently, but he can capture the reader's attention right at the beginning. He's able to capture a story the way that he wants. I know when I'm creating something, it doesn't turn out the way that I had imagined, but he is fully able to capture that, and that is very admirable. In his stories, the characters are quite simple, but that's what makes them so human. They have human intentions, human thoughts, what somebody may actually be feeling in that very moment. They aren't perfect, and they don't always want to help others, but that's what makes them so human. We want to believe we would do what the fearless heroine in a story would do, but in my personal opinion, that simply doesn't exist. There are good people out there who are doing things for others, but at some point in time they have been selfish. That's not a bad thing, to prioritize yourself. Yuta is a good example. He isn't perfect, but that doesn't mean he's a bad person. He devoted himself to something he thought was mostly his own project when it wasn't, since it reveals his mother had basically forced him to make the shots about her, and saw him as useless when he didn't record her last moments. But despite what his mom thought, he took it personally when so many people hated his movie. He was angry, sad, frustrated, and alone. And unfortunately, this is a common occurrence in real life, where in the end, they would end their life. Yuta didn't suddenly decide that maybe it's worth living. He only lived because he was stopped, which did let him think about his life, while others don't meet the same fate Yuta did. And I think that's what makes Tatsuki Fujimoto's stories so strong. It is also a thing in society that even if we aren't actively looking for it, we are always seeking human validation. It's just human nature to seek for it, to seek for love, to seek for something that makes you find that reason to continue on, to really fight for something that you're passionate in. And he was able to capture that in Yuta. Through the story, it slowly begins to get more confusing about what's a part of the movie and what's a part of reality. Did Eri really die? Was his mother really that self-absorbed to look perfect before she died, even if it was Yuta recording it all? Was this whole thing just a film from the very beginning? There's so many questions that have no answers, as the ending just results in a self-proclaimed older Yuta leaving the abandoned hospital building as it explodes behind him once more. That's one of the greatest things about the story, but it also makes you feel so empty because there is no true final cut end resolution. But that's what makes this story so beautiful. It leaves you with a choice and a decision, and that is quite a common occurrence in Tatsuki Fujimoto stories, where the story is open for choice. One of the biggest things that others, and even I still do, is linger on the past or wish something was different, imagining a different outcome for what could have been but would never be. Although with this choice, it can be a hard thing. What is the best option? What is the best choice? And even when you make that decision, it still doesn't feel complete despite you having the choice. Isn't that quite ironic? Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I worked really hard to even get to this point. I've literally just been using my phone and CapCut and a few other things here and there. So it was a bit of a struggle, but regardless, I do like the end product. I always wish there could be something different in certain things, but at the end of the day, I've got to stop at some point and just be happy with what I have now, because I think I'm just going to keep trying to fix it and fix it and fix it, or I'm just going to be burnt out and I don't even want to do anything with this project anymore. But this is my first time truly trying a video where I'm talking about something that I genuinely enjoy and just more or less going into the deeper side of things and analyzing it in a very opinionated analyzation of just what I think of the story and what I think of how it came to be and just the way it is. Now, I don't really know if I should call this an analysis because I'm analyzing certain parts, but it's more of like an opinion. So I'm just sticking with analysis for now, but it might change, who knows. I hope that despite it being very opinionated, my point came across. I just wanted to, start something. It all just started when I decided to edit the beginning and I'm like, all right, I might make this into a video. So I don't know. We'll see where this goes. And again, thank you for watching. If you reached the end, just enjoy the rest of this speed paint that I decided to make of Eri and Yuta. And I might see you guys next time. Bye.